Unleashed.
Drop wins the face off to the left point. Hayes and drive, score!
Headlines, highlights, coach's corner, player interview, and everything happening around Condors Town. Now in HD.
Missed wide of the net. To the left wing, corner centering feet. Brenner all alone in the slot, scores! A nice job from Tyler Brenner. Pass it to take control, and now it does. He's in all alone. Backhand scores! Welcome back, Nick Trombley. And that's to the side of the cage. Back to the right point. Bergdorfer, he scores! The captain from the right side.
Now, two guys only here for the free pizza. Here are the voices of the Condors, Ryan Holt and Kevin Bartle.
The free pizza. I hope we get some free pizza today.
I mean, that was a segue if I had ever heard one.
That's a knock to Mike Griffith. Please, bring the pizza today. Mike, I beg of you, bring the pizza. Anyways, welcome inside the Dignity Health Studios here at the Bakersfield, California. And this is Condors Unleashed. Ryan Holt, Kevin Bartle, thanks for taking your lunch hour and spending it with two guys who wore the same clothes today.
Seriously. What were you thinking?
I was thinking about our last couple of shows and the attire that we've had on. And it's really just been, we've hit on the last two shows because we've worn different outfits. And then this show, we missed.
I literally haven't worn this shirt for 2 weeks, and it just got washed, and I was hanging it up, and I thought, I'm going to wear my new, Condors Oilers affiliation shirt. And here you are. So we need to have this conversation clearly on Tuesday nights.
We don't plan much for this show. I think this is last week's planner, actually. I'm not positive, but I think it is show. Oh, no, it's show 3. All right, so we're going to have a show today, and we hope it's going to be a good one. Hope you're going to be entertained. Got a lot coming up. We're going to highlight some games from the past weekend. We're going to look forward to this week. The Condors with a big road trip coming up this week, and we'll talk with Condors head coach Troy Mann all about it.
North to Alaska we go, north the rush is on. You don't even know that song, do you?
I have no clue. Was that on an 8-track? Did you have an 8-track?
That song predates me, but yes, I'm sure somebody has it on an 8-track somewhere.
In your LeBaron? Did you drive a LeBaron too?
Yeah, so it was a convertible with the 8-track.
Anyways, Condors head coach Troy Mann will join us in the coach's corner in our next segment, and then be joined by a player guest as well, as always, Gary Steffes, who's had a good start to his career in Condors Town.
He's having a great start. He's a fun player to watch out there. He's big. He's physical. He gets himself into scoring lanes. He always seems to be around the puck, so we're going to have fun talking to Gary. He's a great guy, too. Looking forward to having him on.
We'll also recap our picks from last week in our For the Record segment to close this show out.
I think we need to recap.
We need to recap the just crushing smackdown I laid on you and Roger Parsons.
I think it's about time for you to go for a run.
Because Randy Steiner is going to join us in our For the Record minority owner of your Bakersfield Condors. So he'll join us, longtime season ticket holder as well, along with his wife, Dolores. So he'll join us in our last segment. And listen, it's going to be a lot of fun as always. And as always, Bartle,
we start with Holty's headlines.
All right, hold on. We got to go stick mic this time, so I got to gently. There we go.
Is this on? There he is.
All right, we're down. Is this thing on? Are we on? Are we good?
Hey, you're on. Remember to talk straight into the microphone.
Yes. I'm Jeff Lamucci. No, welcome inside Holty's headlines. First, of course, we have to start with what happened over the weekend. Condors dropping 2 games on home ice. First to the Stockton Thunder on Friday night, and then to the Florida Everblades. The Florida Everblades look like a very good team in the Eastern Conference. They swept through the entire Pacific Division. They beat Ontario twice, Las Vegas once, the Condors once. But we start with Stockton, a 5-4 loss. Nice crowd in Condors Town, though, on Friday night.
Great crowd. They were very energetic, and, they stuck behind this team, the Condors. And Thunder battling early on, staying even, and it's a good thing they hung out for the third period, as we will see.
This thing got going early, 37 seconds into the hockey game. Blake Kessel, new defenseman for the Condors, shot from the right point. And, all right, there's our man, Gary Steffes, to tip that one home and put in the rebound.
Yeah, I mean, he's Johnny on the spot. He goes to the net hard on this goal, and that's how he ends up getting it. I think if he wasn't there, maybe we'll ask him about this. But if he's not there, it probably goes in anyway. But if you're there, there you go. Right by the side of the cage, and he jumps right on the loose puck and bangs it in.
I'm all for him making sure that the puck goes over the line.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Don't get me wrong.
Guaranteed of anything. Condors would actually fall behind 2-1 in this game, but out of the penalty box, Eric Bergdorfer walks in all alone on a breakaway and then does a nice little celebration into the glass afterwards. A big goal from Bergie, and it was 2-2 early in the second.
You know, that always seems to happen to other teams. The guy comes out of the box, gets a breakaway. I don't know. I just always felt like that always happens to other teams, never us. Well, they were looking forward. It was a great pass by Michael Neal, another newcomer here to Condors Town the last week, who's paid dividends. We'll talk a little bit more about Mr. Neal with head coach Troy Mann later on. But great feed up ahead to Bergdorfer, who has shown a flair for the dramatic with his goal scoring here in the last couple seasons.
Last season, of course, he scored the shootout winner against Utah. They kept the Condors in the playoff hunt, and here getting his first goal of the season. The Bergie started off with 2 points in the opening 4 games, so a good start to the campaign from Eric Bergdorfer. And then we're going to mix it up a little bit. Our boy again, Gary Steffes, getting involved.
He's all over the highlight reel, everybody. I will ask him about this one, too. I mean, he stands up for himself. I don't really see Gary Steffes as being a guy this season that's going to go out looking to mix it up. But, he stands up for himself here. Garrett Hunt obviously is one of those guys who's out looking for it. And he found a willing combatant in Gary Steffes. Not the only time that Steffes would get involved in a little post-whistle fracas.
And that's how I kind of see Gary Steffes. Because of the game he plays, he's going to get involved in these type of situations just because he plays so hard and does go to the front of the net. Condors would fall behind 5-2 in this hockey game, but the third period belonged to Bakersfield. Ryan Garlock feeding Jordan Kanaxted, and that's a pretty goal, Bart.
It's a nice goal. I mean, you draw those up on the board and you work on them in practice, and you don't always get that lane across the ice. And if they show the replay there, Garlock times this perfectly.
We've got replays.
Well, the puck comes out top of the slot, and Kessel's the only guy out there. So one guy is going to him, and that kind of leaves 2 guys in the middle of the ice. So when Garlock gets it back, he has to wait for the seam, and then just as the guy moves 1 foot away, he's got that lane. And Kanaxted makes no mistake with a great one-timer.
For the listeners on Fox Sports Radio 970, right circle to left circle, a one-timer, first goal of the season for Jordan Kanaxted. And again, the physical play picking up, and the Condors finding a loose puck at the top of the crease, and lo and behold, Michael Neal pots his first as a Condor.
I love the highlight that it's Steffes again, except he's laying on the ice after colliding with the guy and throwing him off the play. Our boy 22 was all over the place in this game. He had a great night.
Tyler Brenner picked up the assist as well on that last goal. Steffes going hard to the back of the net, falling down, but Brenner picked up the loose puck and was able to throw it out in front for Michael Neal, and we'll talk a little bit about Neal in our next Holty's headline. But this line, Bartle, was put together both nights, and I thought if you looked at a line overall, Steffes, Neal, and Brenner, and I think we could talk a little bit more about it later with Condors head coach Troy Mann, but that was the best line, I think, on the weekend for a team that struggled a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they just did a lot of little things, and they're, what I mean by some of the little things is Steffes there. Like, he didn't bail on his guy coming out from behind the net. He chased him down. The goal came about 15 seconds later, but it all started from that and from him getting into traffic and knocking his man off the puck.
The Condors did pull within the 5-4. What you're looking at here is a mad scramble on the power play late in this hockey game. And Bart, you felt it in the building. I had a feeling the Condors were going to tie this game late, especially when they got that power play. But you could see it here. The puck just will not find the back of the net.
No, and a couple of their great chances, it just didn't find the goaltender either. And those are the kinds of things that are happening when you're not getting any breaks and hitting shins in front, hitting sticks, and going wide. So
a 5-4 loss for the Condors on Friday night. Stockton out shooting Bakersfield 44-24. We move ahead to Saturday quickly. This one did not get off to a good start. Florida hopped out to a 6-0 lead, but that's when all the fun happened, especially in the late second and third periods. We're going to drop the mitts, and guess who's back in Condors Town to drop the mitts? Brett Lyon. Going up here against A.J. Jenks, and he's going to get the better of Jenks here, and I like calling this one over and under. Lyon just will not quit, and he picks up his first fighting major, one of 2 fights on the evening, and also the first part of 9 penalty minutes for Brett Lyon in the game. That's a season high for Bakersfield. And the Condors wouldn't get going here until the third period. Luke Oakley cuts it to 6-1 early in the third period. He gets a nice feed out in front. Again, our boy Gary Steffes in on the play as well, along with Michael Neal. And really just a nice play, and Oakley finding the loose area at the top of the crease. Goaltender Jesse Deckert well out of position, and Oakley left all alone. And those ones are fairly easy to put into the back of the net. The Condors would get another one as well. This puck's going to come back to the right point. Wes Cunningham's going to let the shot fly. And the Condors are going to get a deflection on it in front from newcomer Ryan Garlock. Also down there, Chris Collins helping out, providing the screen in front of Deckert. And the Condors really had a good third period. It made up for not so good first 40 minutes for Bakersfield.
Yeah, it kind of at least left you with a good taste in your mouth at the end of the hockey game. Like, there is something here to build on. But, you know, the Condors, one of their big problems, I think, here early on this season is they haven't gotten off to great starts. And, yeah, they were tied up against Stockton, but still ended up falling behind, you know, before the end of the period. And, you know, I think early in hockey games, if they can set the tone and get the lead. Again, this Florida game, they got off to a very good start. They were physical. They were getting shots on goal, just weren't getting any goals. And, you know, before they knew it, they were down 2-0 and then 3-0 before the end of the period. So getting off to a good start is especially important up in Alaska. Keep that crowd out of it.
Not featured in the highlight in that Florida game, Nick Pajot, his first fight, he took on former Condor Tyson Gimlet. All right, moving on here in Holty's headlines. Mystery Alaska. Condors heading to Alaska for a 3-game set. We won't want to talk to you about the on-the-ice stuff. We'll get to that in just a minute. Let's talk to you about the off-the-ice stuff. Here's my 5 favorite places to eat in Alaska. There's 5. Humpy's, you got to get the fish and chips. That's a standard. It's well known. F Street Station. Not only do I like the food, I like the beer there too, but there's a block of cheese that hangs out on the bar. And for whatever reason, I find that fascinating. You can take cheese off the bar. I've never eaten it. Moose's Tooth. Moose's Tooth is near the rink. I think they have like 100 different varieties of pizza. I'm working my way through most of them. Alaska's Gourmet Subs. This is a staple of mine for pregame meal. Great subs. Also a staple of mine for the pregame. The Mall Food Court. There are 2 guys there who work the walk station and who work the burger station, and they compete against one another for your dollar. And I've generously donated to both of their fine establishments, so I like the food court as well. Bartz, what do you got for Alaska? You've been there more than me.
I've been there a bunch of times. I have also have my favorite places to eat. I'm surprised that you've never been to Orso. It's attached to the Glacier Brewhouse.
I think I have. I've definitely been to the Glacier Brewhouse. Stick tap to John Doolin for pointing that one out.
Yeah, Orso is a great spot. I mean, great series of appetizers for when you're sitting at the bar. My favorite places to visit in general, I have my list of favorite places.
Go ahead.
You want a funky souvenir, go to a place called the Rusty Harpoon.
All right.
If you want to take home some fur, this is weird down here in the lower 48. Up there's fur all over the place, like legitimate furrier place. David Green Master Furrier. It's great. You got to go check it out. It's right on 4th Street.
All right.
Check it out. Have you ever felt a muskox?
I don't even know what one is.
All right. Also, one of my favorite things, the statue tribute to Captain James Cook, who was the first European to set foot up in the Great Land, Alaska, as they call it.
Yes.
And also the Alaska Experience Theater, which includes the Alaska Earthquake Museum.
How
There's
about
my
that?
list.
I also saw the Iditarod start last year. Bartle did, and it's pretty cool. The Iditarod starts in downtown Anchorage before it moves on and goes into parts unknown. All right, moving on here in Holty's headlines. Michael Neal leading the team in scoring 3 points early on in 2 games. We'll talk a little bit more about Michael Neal with Condors head coach Troy Mann, but Neal a goal and 2 assists. Really physical as well in his first 2 games. Looking forward to seeing what he can provide coming up here this weekend as the team heads to Alaska. Speaking of Alaska, we have to look at on the ice. The Alaska Ace is currently leading the Western Conference in points. They're tops in the Mountain Division, also tops in the Western Conference. They've outshot teams by an average of 43-16. Here you get a look at them on their YouTube page in Alaska, donning pirate-themed uniforms against San Francisco. They're 4-1 on the season. They have the most goals scored in the Western Conference. They have the least goals against in the Western Conference, 19-6 respectively. And the Aces are currently rolling a 3-game sweep of the Las Vegas Wranglers in Vegas. They've won their last 4 games. It's going to be a tough task for the Condors here this weekend against the Alaska Aces, especially with just the one goalie in Paul Karpowicz. Our final Holty's headline, also want to touch upon, join the Booster Club. You got to look at the road trip coming up. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but join the Booster Club. Great way to get involved with the Condors. Players, $20 for individuals, $30 for family, $10 for seniors. If you want more information, condorsboosterclub.org. We'll have Randy Steiner on a little bit later to talk about the Booster Club, but they have a lot of fun activities coming up later on this season, including on Wednesday, November 13th. At the Melodrama, they're having a game night with the players, bunko night with the players. So look forward to that. We'll talk a little bit more.
Did we figure out what bunko is?
We're going to figure out what bunko is. Hopefully Randy knows, because we don't know. But it's game night with the players coming up on Wednesday, November 13th. All right, we got to take a break here on Condors Unleashed. That was Holty's headlines. Coming up after this quick timeout, we'll go inside the coach's corner. We'll talk with Condors head coach Troy Mann. It's all coming up from the Dignity Health Studios, live at the Bakersfield, California. Fox Sports Radio 97.